Good afternoon and welcome to Wheel of Justice, the program that helps you understand the Abia State Administration of Criminal Justice Law 2017. It is brought to you by the Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee and Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action Power with the support of the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, OSIWA, and the Abia State Justice Reform Team. The program comes your way on Tuesdays by 3:30 p.m. My name is Ifani Awa. And on this week's edition of Wheel of Justice, we'll be looking at the human rights provisions under the Administration of Criminal Justice Law 2017, and it's a very important part of that law. I have my guest here with me this week, but before I introduce her, let's take a quick break, and when I come back, I will introduce my guest, and then we'll dissect this part of the law. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Wheel of Justice, and just like I said earlier, our topic for this week is on the human rights provisions under the Administration of Criminal Justice Law. And with me this week to dissect this particular topic is Barrister Acjl Nwokocha, who has become a familiar face right here in the station, and you definitely get to always hear her voice on your right. But she's also the Abia State Coordinator, National Human Rights Commission. It's an honor to have you back here in the studio.
Good afternoon, listeners.
Someone that say we should give you an ID card at once.
It's welcomed. About time.
All right, now we've looked at so many different parts of the law, and this week we're looking at the human rights provisions under this law. But for the layman on the street, let's start with the easiest part. What is human rights? When we hear human rights, what do we mean by this?
Okay, human rights are the basic rights and freedoms that belong to every person in the world.
Okay,
from birth until death. These basic rights are based on shared values like life, dignity, fairness, equality, respect, and independence. These values are defined and protected by law. Human rights are classified into different categories like civil and political rights, economics and social-cultural rights, women's/gender rights, rights of the child, rights of the vulnerable group. And as time goes on, more classifications will be coming. All right. Now, human rights are interrelated and interdependent. No right is more important than the other, as a denial of one right challenges the enjoyment of others. Our focus today is human rights provisions under the Abia State Administration of Criminal Justice Law, Acjl 2017. So we are going to concentrate on our civil and political rights. Here we will be discussing things like unlawful arrest and detention, extortion, unlawful seizure of property, cruel, inhuman and degrading treatment, torture, extrajudicial killing, appeal for prerogative of mercy, enforced disappearance, participation in political affairs, right to freedom of thought and religion, right to peaceful assembly and association, threat to life, right to fair hearing, access to justice, disobedience of court order or judgment, delay in court trial, abuse of power, and so on and so forth. These are the things we'll be discussing under the Acjl as we relate the content of human rights to the law.
During the duration of this program so far, a couple of weeks we've had it, there's been a couple of revelations when it comes to this law that a lot of individuals were not even aware of, and I believe today's edition will also going to have more revelations on this. Now, talking about with the rights you listed here, which we're going to be looking at very soon, I noticed that there are so many persons have had one, two, or more of these rights violated over the course of time. So let us go straight up to the provisions. What are the human rights provisions under the Administration of Criminal Justice Law 2017?
Acjl is a wonderful law. It recognizes the fact that criminal justice administration requires participation of the whole society in order to be effective. Everybody is involved. There's something for each and every one of us to do to make the law effective. The law actually started by talking about arrest. Section 4, 5, 6, 7 talks about arrest.
Okay.
Says that if somebody is to be arrested, yes, somebody can be arrested. A suspect, it says that a suspect shall be, Section 4 says that a suspect shall be arrested, investigated, inquired into, tried, and dealt with according to the provisions of this law. It's a law that works for both the suspect and for the victim. This is the first law we are having that made provision for victims' compensation, so that if you are hurt as a victim, the state can compensate you for the hurt you have experienced. This is also the law that changed some nomenclatures we use in the courts. Instead of calling somebody now an accused person in the court, the accused say this, the accused say that, we call the person the defendant, just like we do in civil proceedings, to recognize the fact of our law that you are innocent until you are proved guilty. So it starts from that criminal process, really, from the criminal prosecution. Your innocence is recognized until the case against you is proved and you are sentenced. So these things are what makes this law very, very beautiful. Now, before somebody is arrested, like I said, if you are a suspect, you can be arrested. It is lawful, as stated in the law. It says that there's a mode for the arrest. Section 5 says there's a mode for the arrest. You have to confine the person. Just touch the person and tell the person, depending on the situation, of course, that you are under arrest. It says confine the person. That is, touch the body of the person to be arrested.
All right.
It says also Section 6 said there should be no unnecessary restraints. Not where you want to arrest somebody, you twist the hand, unless, of course, the person starts showing signs of resistance. And of course, Section 7 says that at the moment you arrest somebody, you have to tell the person why you are arresting him or her. It's not a matter of you get to know when we get to the station. You owe it a duty to the person to tell the person why the person is arrested.
From the point of the arrest.
Exactly. Unless where the person is actually found committing the offense. Or where the person was caught running away after committing the offense. So the person knows what he did. So you don't need to tell him. But then I always advise our law enforcers to be on the safe side. Always tell the person so that the person will know. Now, it talks about rights of a suspect to a duty solicitor. Say that a suspect is entitled to a solicitor. That is a counsel, a legal practitioner, to advise him on what to do. And it prohibits, in clear terms, arrest in lieu. That is Section 8. No person shall be arrested in place of another. You cannot be looking for a son and then you arrest the father. You cannot be looking for a husband, you arrest the wife. You cannot be looking for a sister, you arrest the brother. You cannot be looking for a boyfriend to arrest him and then you see the girlfriend, you go and arrest her. Nobody should be arrested in lieu of the other. That is one of the provisions. You are not supposed to beat the person or assault the person. You are just supposed to get the person, take the person to the nearest police station or hand the person over to the nearest police officer. Then we come to recording of statement. That is Section 17. Because people do complain a lot. Most of the, what we are having about this NSAS movement or protest is because of brutality, because of torture, because of extrajudicial killings, and other terrible things that happen to people while they are in custody or even outside custody from the law enforcers, not just the police. Other law enforcement agencies are involved. So it tells you exactly how to get recorded statement from the arrested person. The person is to make his own statement, or get somebody whom he trusts, or get a legal practitioner to be there while he makes his statement. This is very, very important. And the law makes provision for arrest with or without warrant. You can arrest with warrant,
or without warrant,
or you can arrest without warrant. The warrant one is emphatic, where you are arresting based on information. If somebody comes and informs an officer that such and such a person at such and such a time in such and such a place, there is no need for immediate action. The police should get a warrant, either from the court or from a senior police officer, to go and effect the arrest. Now, what we don't often get the warrant. What people receive from them is apply for the person's bail, either in writing or orally. But if it's a matter that is only the High Court that has jurisdiction, then it means that the person have to apply for bail in the High Court.
All right. Now, because of time, we don't have so much time. We need to take a quick break, and when we'll come back, with the time we do have, we'll try to go through some of the other angles of the provisions when it comes to the Acjl. And also, if time does permit, we'd love to take in some few calls for questions. Those who might want to ask certain questions concerning this human right law, because I did say this earlier. There's certain revelations being made in this law that not a lot of persons are aware of this. But let's take this break real quick. When we'll come back, we'll dive some more into other provisions of the Acjl. This is Wheel of Justice. Welcome back. This is Wheel of Justice, and don't forget it is brought to you by the Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee and Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action Power, with the support of the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, OSIWA, and the Abia State Justice Reform Team. We'll be talking about human rights provisions under the Administration of Criminal Justice Law 2017, and I was speaking with the Abia State Coordinator, National Human Rights Commission, Barrister Acjl, who has opened our eyes in different areas when it comes to the provision of the human rights provision under the Acjl. But before I go on, I'll open the phone lines right now. If you have questions you might want to ask, because we don't have so much time on our hands anymore, 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. We have any question concerning human rights? She's talked so much about. She's talked about the arrest part, talked about bail, and that would take me, because earlier you mentioned about the freedom of expression, that is protests. We've seen this happen a couple of times right now. So, what rights do people have, and how should they conduct themselves if there is a protest happening?
Like the Constitution allows people right to freedom of expression, right to freedom of assembly and association. People have the right to protest. But the protest has to be peaceful protest.
Okay. Because
where one person's right ends, another person's right begins. So if the protest is peaceful, it's allowed. And peaceful protests are usually protected by law enforcers, so that people do not infringe their rights, the rights of the protesters, like beating them up, because not everybody may agree with you. Some people may not agree with you. Some people may not understand even why you're protesting. They may be giving 500 naira or 1,005, as we heard during the EndSARS protest, to attack protesters. So law enforcement agents, it's their duty to protect, first of all, the protesters, and then ensure that the protest is not penetrated by miscreants and mischief makers who may want to use the opportunity of the protest to embark on something else that the protest is not for.
All right. Now, a couple of calls already coming through. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. May we know your name, please, and your location?
I'm Casey calling from Omwaya.
All right. Casey, please go on with your question.
Please, I'm calling with reference to the last peaceful protest that was conducted last week.
All right.
Actually, I saw everything that happened even on the second day. The first day came and went quickly. Second day came also, and at the evening, while we are passing through the bend road, we didn't see anybody. We didn't have any nothing. And the police started shooting tear gas and shots across without doing anything.
All right.
So in that one, what is it called? Did we abuse the law of following through the bend roads and do our peaceful protest?
Okay. Thank you very much. I don't know if you got his question. Saying there was a protest, and then for the
and they were peaceful, and
yes,
they were the police threw,
shot at them and allegedly shot at them. Yes.
Well, that's what we have to put up with protests in Nigeria. It happened. It's true. They have no right to do that. It was wrong, and the whole Nigeria and the whole international community have told them that it is wrong.
Okay. All right. Let us check on another caller. That's that one. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon. What's your name, please?
Pastor Nyema.
Pastor Nyema, where are you calling from this afternoon?
I'm calling from Obama Housing Estate.
Okay. What's your question?
Yes, I want to ask Sister Acjl, the barrister. How does the Human Rights Commission ensure that the Nigerian police obey these laws? Because the problem is that the Nigerian police does not obey these laws.
Okay.
How do they ensure that these laws are obeyed by them?
All right. Thank you very much, Pastor Onyema.
It's okay, Pastor. But the people that make sure that laws are obeyed is actually the court. The duty of National Human Rights Commission is to monitor and bring these things to the notice of the police high-ranking officers and at times the court. In the year 2019, National Human Rights Commission anchored the presidential panel on SARS. Actually, after a lot of complaints beginning from as far back as 2017, complaints gathered by the commission sent to the Attorney General of the Federation, Attorney Generals of the states, and a lot of other things and other places from different individuals, from different organizations. In 2019, the president actually set up a panel to look into the problem of SARS and police brutality. National Human Rights Commission anchored that panel. That panel made a report, made some recommendations, and it was delivered to the presidency. The facts are there, the pictures are there. It's something in the public domain. But somehow nobody did anything about it. They kept it quiet. Maybe they were still studying it for more than 1 year until this NSAS thing started. Now, what I'm telling my brothers who are listening to me, we all have our functions. National Human Rights Commission has its own function, and its own function has to do with monitoring what the law enforcers are doing. It does not include disciplining the law enforcers. We cannot discipline the police, but you can report on what they are doing to people that can discipline them.
All right. Now, in just 1 minute, I'd like to ask this final question before we go. In just 1 minute, please. We talked about how police should react to individuals so that they can respect their human rights. But how should the individuals, citizens, act toward the police whenever there is a situation so that their rights can be respected as well?
Exactly. Like I said before we started, we expanded on this discussion. This administration of criminal justice law, everybody has something to do about it. The law enforcement agents, the police, the lawyers, the courts, everybody has something to do about it, including the prison officer, the correctional center officers. They also have something to do about it, because the law, section 109 of the law, tells them that every 90 days, if there's any person that has been awaiting trial for more than 180 days, they should bring such to the notice of the chief judge of the state, so that there is need to find out why somebody should be awaiting trial for 180 days. So there is something for everybody. Of course, this will lead to the decongestion of the prison. Now, coming to the police, say one good turn deserves another. At times, our people do not behave well. They attack the police. We have seen it happen. When police are on lawful duty, they want to invite somebody, the person will refuse to come. They will go to arrest the person will gather some hoodlums around him, and they will attack the police, beat the police up. Some believe that the police have offended them and they have to take revenge. So when they see a policeman on his own doing his lawful duty, they will go and attack the person, kill the person, injure the person, or do all sorts of things to the person. Of course, this does not call for good relationship between the citizens and the police. And when we have such unfriendly situation, who benefits from it? The criminals in society and the criminals amongst the police. Because there's no place you have a gathering of people that you don't have bad people. They are the people that ultimately benefits from this antagonism between the citizens and the police. Unless we hear that, we can't get the maximum benefit from our police.
I really wish I had enough time, because there's so much to really talk about when it comes to the provisions of the human rights under the Acjl. But thank you very much, Barrister Uche Nwokocha, Abia State Coordinator, National Human Rights Commission. Thank you very much for coming again. And don't forget, this Wheel of Justice comes your way Tuesdays 3:30 and is brought to you by the Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee and Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action Power, with the support of the Open Society Initiative for West Africa, OSIWA, and the Abia State Justice Reform Team. My name is Ifeanyi Awati. Next week, do have a lovely day ahead. Bye for now.